All right, guys. Here we are. Thank you guys for coming out. It's pretty cool, you know. I've done a couple of the mental game seminars, and I'll do more of those. Those are really what I enjoy, but I enjoy this too. But I definitely love to talk about that. So look for one of those coming up very soon because that's my jam. But I appreciate you guys deeming your evening worthy of my knowledge. That's pretty cool. I feel good. So I took everything I know about doubles and I tried to pick the top 10. If anybody's ever been to any of my clinics or have seen me before, you guys know that I can talk forever about all of it, and I think that everything I say is very important, so I could make this list probably 50 points, but I tried to bring it down to maybe the top 10, and as I looked at it today, I go, damn it, I should have maybe put this one instead, but whatever. We're gonna get these top 10 out here. That's 10. I'm gonna try to go 5 minutes per, maybe less. I'd like to answer some questions. If I fly through them, then maybe I'll add some at the back end. Yeah, so here we go. All right, this is it, your top 10. Number 1. Now this doesn't go for everybody, this goes for a lot of people, okay? Number 1, important thing is to support your partner. Okay, so doubles is not singles. You need your partner to play well in order for you to win. Okay. What do you guys think is the main contributing factor to someone playing good tennis? Confidence, right. Feeling good about themselves. That is the number 1 thing. When you feel good about yourself, you play well. When you don't feel so good about yourself, you don't play well. That's the number 1. All the other stuff matters, but that is number 1. Okay? So if that's number 1, then your job is to get your partner to feel as good about themselves as possible if you want them to play well. Which means not really ever critiquing them or making suggestions or saying anything about anything. It has so less to do with rights and wrongs. Okay? You could literally give the best advice that's ever been given, okay? But the person, more often than not, is going to take it as a critique, and they're going to go, oh, they're either going to take it as, okay, I'm not doing well, or they might take it as I'm disappointing my partner, or they might go the other way and be like, stop telling me what to do, and they might get mad at you. But either way, it's not going to be received well. So there is no point in actually telling your partner what to do ever, just so you know. Now, thank you. Now,
that's restricted to tennis,
right. No. I like the Gandhi be the change you want to be. Like it rarely do well when you tell people what to do. But that's a whole nother thing. Now, if let's say you have a partner that you play with for a while, you guys have a good relationship. There's nothing wrong with like a little bit of strategy talk on the changeover, maybe like, hey, let's play this different formation, or I feel like maybe we should lob them a little bit more. Like with the right pairing, then that can definitely go well. But let's just say that has to be really, really nice, and it can go badly really, really quickly. Okay? One other part of that is you are, besides your words, you are giving off whatever, certain energies or certain feelings, and if your partner double faults and you go, or you don't even have to do that. Like, here's me, here's you double faulting. Cool, do that. You can do it. just know that you are negatively affecting your partner, which is negatively affecting your chances of winning. So if you're into like, and that's kind of in a sick way part of it too, it's like then you can blame your partner and all that stuff. Like, no, be a team. Like, you are responsible for them playing well. I'll go into that later. No, I'm gonna go into that now a little bit. Your partner is gonna have strengths and weaknesses in their game, and they're gonna have a certain style of game, the way they play. They are gonna have a certain way that they act on the court. Maybe they're a little more quiet, maybe they're more serious, maybe they're more hyper. Maybe you have Ben Cannara as a partner, and you know, you're just trying to, you know, rein them in a little bit. I don't know. But they are gonna have their strengths and weaknesses, and figuring out how to work with that, to me, is part of the fun of doubles. If you don't really enjoy that, I think you're kind of missing the point. You should probably just play singles. Okay. So when I would play USTA, you know, every time the captain was making matchups or like what teams are we gonna put out, I would always be like, please put me with the worst player on our team. It is egotistical at the end of the day because I basically want to overcome this challenge and really feel really good about myself. So let's not kid ourselves and think I'm some like amazing person. But the idea behind it is that I want the challenge of like making my partner play their best tennis and figuring out how I can like complement them better and how we can win together. Like, that brings so much more excitement to me than if you told me, okay, you're gonna have the best player as your partner, and then okay, cool, like what? I don't know. So anyways, when you figure out what they like to do and how they like to play, it's your job to kind of help complement that. I'm gonna go on. I have 8 points of strategy and positioning, but I've bookended with the psychoanalysis type stuff. So that'll be the kind of, we'll wrap that up at the end, but that's kind of our beginning thing. Be a good partner, please. Okay, now we're going to a little bit more of the positioning portion. Okay, so cover the middle. All right. So this one will always be number one. Anytime anybody's ever done a doubles lesson with me, they know this is the first thing I cover because to me it's the easiest thing to do to help you win, and you'd be surprised that basically nobody does it. So it gives you a distinct advantage over your opponents if you can do this. And once you learn it, you'll see that it happens constantly. I don't want to do this, but we could watch that doubles match over there, and this situation that I'm talking about will probably play out within the next 3 or 4 points. It just happens non-stop. So what am I saying? Cover the middle. Okay. So in general, you guys know that when your opponent's hitting the ball from the baseline, so a return to serve, player A, if they're hitting a return or a ground stroke, that you're going to be up closer to the net. But the main issue is when your partner's hitting the ball, where do you stand? Okay. So in this scenario over here, player A is your partner. You're playing against player C and player D. So you're B. Okay. Now I drew it this way because when we're playing, we see B this way, right? Which is part of the problem. So when I teach it and I say, hey, you should stand here or here, people are just seeing it based on how they are on the court. But when we flip it, and we can see from our opponent's angle, that really helps us see that we are in the wrong position. So we are player B, which we are looking at ourselves right now, okay, to basically help you with the visual. Okay. If your partner, which we don't know if they're going to hit it to player C or player D, we don't know where they're going to hit it. If they hit it to player C at the net here, player C could volley the ball anywhere from here to here, so anywhere in this area. I cut out this little part right here because for them to hit that, they would have to hit it a lot softer, which changes things. Okay, then that would be like an angle volley or cut. Okay, but if they're going to hit any sort of firm volley, they're going to hit it in this area. Well, we know if they volley the ball anywhere in this area, our partner has it. Okay? So again, we're player B. If we take this spot here, okay? So now you might think, well, Chris, I normally stand here when my partner's returning, okay? But a lot of times when your partner's serving, you're standing up here, and then you might stay there. You can see that if you stay here, player C, if they hit it anywhere in this space here, so basically anywhere in the middle of the court, they win the point. If we are standing in spot B here, or spot B, in this spot right here, okay, so we're back a little bit further. We've now covered a little bit more, but we're still leaving up this space. If we stand right here on the tee, I will say, depending on how hard the return is, how hard your partner hits, it's a second serve, it's a first serve, it's a ground shot, whatever. You can vary it a little bit, but in general, if I stand right here on the service line tee, look, I have covered the entire middle, and I've covered all the way to here. So now we have this covered and this covered. So the only spot they can go for the ball and really get it by me is this little sliver. I personally would much rather take away this big chunk of the whole court in the middle and leave them this sliver than stand over here and give them this middle part. Or even worse, stand here and really give them the big middle. Okay? So that part kind of drives me crazy when I see it, because I would always push them there. Now, we do that just for the geometry of the game, but in actuality too, where does player C volley the ball? They volley the ball 75% of the time here. Maybe 70%. Then maybe 25% here, and then less than 5% will they actually hit it over here. So not only are we actually covering more court, we're actually standing where they're going to hit it. So if you have not done this before, and you start to learn to stand there, you're going to be shocked how many balls go right to you every time. Now, will it be an easy shot? Maybe not, but at least you're there and you're getting the ball. Now that we're there, the next point is, how do we know? We know if player D is hitting the ball, we want to go up. When player D is hitting the ball, we know we want to be up here. So when I'm here, how do I decide when it's time to go here? Okay. So if you wait for the ball to go over here, you're going to be a little late getting up here. What you want to be doing is you want to be watching the volleyer. Okay. So let's say D's hitting either a ground stroke or a serve. It doesn't matter. They hit it, boom. You kind of watch it bounce. You get a good idea of like whether it's in or out, how your partner's set up. Then you shift your attention to C. If C goes like this, like they're gonna hit a volley, you know, time to hunker down and get right here. So I'm on that tee right there, and I'm really getting down ready to handle a hard hit volley. If player C relaxes, then I know they're not getting the ball, it's going to D, so then I can immediately move up. Okay? And you need those extra seconds. So again, you watch the net player, they will tell you what's going on in the point. Got it? That will tell you when to move up. Now, if D is hitting the ball, we're supposed to be at B. Guess what happens if D hits the ball to your partner at A? Brooke coined this. We called it the slide. You got to get back over here. And if your partner hits it over to D, you got to go back over here. And if the partner hits it back over here. So you're basically going on this diagonal path back and forth throughout the point until your partner comes up or they come up or whatever, something changes. But if it's a one up, one back situation, there you go. Okay, I'm already taking too long on one subject, but that was a big one. That was the biggest one. Do that, please.
Chris, when we played live ball, you always said, hit the ball up the middle.
Yeah.
If you're on the offensive.
No, I don't say that.
You used to say that.
No, I never said that. That's a lie.
Or you say it many times.
No, that never happened. No, get the slide down. that is the most important thing that you can learn. Please. Okay. I can still go on that subject, but I need to move on. Okay, we're on to number 3, which is try all positions. Okay. So how many positions are there? There are 5 essentially. Okay. So you have your 2 up at the net, you have 2 back at the baseline, you have 1 up and 1 back, and then when you are 1 up, 1 back, you have your regular. You could do Australian or you could do I formation if you're on the serve. Okay, so there's 5 different ones. Now we're going to talk about later. You also have poaching and staying and faking, but just in general, where you're standing, you have 5 different spots. Each spot has its own strengths and weaknesses. There is no right answer. There is no, hey, the best doubles players play like X. That's not true. Okay? If you watch any doubles, you'll see players do all different kinds of positions. Okay? Also, you might want to do something based on your level of play or what you're good at. For example, we all watch men's singles tennis, and they hold serve a lot, and so we go, oh, we're supposed to hold serve, and that's the strong point. But if you're playing 3-5 tennis, typically the returns are better than the serves. So which side actually has the advantage? The returning side. Okay. If I'm in general, if I'm doing well, I'm typically going to go forward. All things being equal, my ground strokes and my volleys, I'm going to go forward. If I'm more on defense, I would be back. So I encourage most of my 3-5 players, when they're serving, to play 2 back. Why play at the net if you're going to be on your heels when the person's returning the ball? So that's obviously very subjective. If the person's not returning hard, you should be up there. If they're returning really hard and you can't handle it, maybe you should be back. But there's nothing wrong with playing 2 back. I love 2 back. I play 2 back all the time. And I love going to the net. So I go to the net all the time. I serve and volley all the time. So I play 2 up all the time. And I play Australian. And I play I formation. I do all of them all the time. Why not? Because it's fun. You don't, the more you do it, the more comfortable you get standing in different spots. And most of your peers that you play against kind of just do the same thing. So you will actually have an advantage just right off the bat, just being comfortable in a different setting. They're going to be like, okay, where am I supposed to hit the ball? And you're going to go, oh, well, this is what I'm doing. It tips at a certain level, but I joke that for the most part, if you guys played 2 back and you lobbed every ball, you would win pretty much all your matches. Now, I'm not suggesting you do that. That would be kind of boring, but I'm just saying that's the reality of it. It's not, oh, we all have to go to the net all the time, okay? Now, I personally go to the net all the time when I play because my volleys are better than my ground strokes. But if my ground strokes were better than my volleys, I probably wouldn't go to the net more. I would stay back more. There isn't an inherent better position being at the net if your volleys aren't very good. It's better to hit ground strokes and lob. Okay, I'm gonna go through that. That was quick. Oh, all right. One other point I'd like to say is that typically, well, I'm gonna talk about this poaching as well. But typically, when you're playing an opponent that is less than you or you're winning, that's when I see people doing different formations or poaching more or being more creative. And when they're playing a team that's better than them, that's when they tend to just stay the course and do the 1 up, 1 back. And obviously it should be the opposite, right? Like if you're better than your opponents, you don't need to do anything. You could just be. And if you are playing and you kind of realize like these guys are better than us, then you got to do something. You should be poaching more. You should be moving more. You should be doing different positions. That's when you do more to like tip the scales in your direction. You don't just stay the course with the 1 up, 1 back, and I don't know. Okay, moving on. Point number 4, poaching. Okay, I love poaching. I love it so much that I'm sure playing with me sometimes is annoying, but whatever. Why is poaching so important? Okay, couple things. 1, it engages you. You get excited, you move around a lot, you play. It's fun. 2, if you're moving around a lot, your opponents are more likely to look up at you when they're hitting the ball, which creates more errors. So what I like to say is that you don't get credit in the box score for that. You know, you move around, and the person misses it, and your partner who hit the ball gets the credit because they're the one who hit the serve or the good shot. But like, I don't care about those things. I want to win, you know? And if you want to win, you want to get in their head a bit. You want to be moving around a lot. Another reason why you poach, and I started with that because I always start with, to me, everything's percentages and everything is a macro look at the game. When you play a game, if you win 6-3, 6-2, typically the point score is 65 to 55. Okay, so it's only about 10-point difference, and you could lose 55 points and still win the match 2-3. So to me, I'm like, I got 55 points to play with. So how do I want to lose these points? You know, I want to lose them by trying to hit my shots the way I feel like hitting them, and you know, getting beat down my alley a few times because I'm making things happen, moving around, hitting balls, making them miss. Right? To me, those are easy points to give away. And we'll get to that later, but it's also fun. So when to poach? So there's kind of two times to be poaching. There's the poaching during the point of play, and then there's a poaching off of your partner's serve. Poaching during the point of play is actually quite simple. If the ball is landing near your opponent's feet, you should poach 100% of the time. When you have a ball near your feet, you have to look down earlier and longer. Okay? 2, there's no way you're thinking offensive minded. You're not trying to hit the ball in an alley, right? It's going to be a hard shot. So every time my opponent gets a ball at their feet, I'm going to move myself to the middle of the court and basically give them the alleys. Do you think they hit the ball in the alley? On accident. They're not trying to hit in the alley, right? So I go stand there and I basically say, cool, take a ball by your feet and hit it to the alley, all right? So it's actually really quite simple. And will they sometimes do it? Yeah, on accident. But it's not even poaching in a way sometimes where I'm trying to even, you know, trick them. I'll just go there. They can know that I'm going there. Even more so, then they'll probably look up and try to make a shot that they shouldn't make, right? Now, if you're poaching, in my eyes, correctly, if I'm poaching here, I'm gonna come and be like this. So I like to call it more like repositioning. See, if you're poaching like this, that's bad, because now if it's hit at you or behind you, all of a sudden you're not gonna be able to get the ball. And the thing is, the ball could definitely go in this space, right? I wanna go up a little bit more towards the middle and face my opponent. Okay, so if I were player C poaching here, my goal would be to get to this spot. Okay, I don't need to get over here. Well, when I just show you this diagram, it'll actually really make sense. But you're cutting off plenty of angle by just going right here and settling in. From here, I can cover like this, and from their shots, they basically have to hit in an alley to get past me. I've taken away the whole singles court for the most part. So that's my goal anytime the ball's at someone's feet. Now, when will that be? Well, if I'm at the net and my partner hits a deep ground stroke to their feet, that would be a time. One of the main times is when I'm hitting a volley, let's say I have a higher volley, and I volley it at their feet like I should, then I just straight run across. And we'll kind of, basically, if I'm here and I hit the volley at this person's feet, they are gonna try to hit it over here. They're not gonna try to hit it back over here. Even if they were, if I come in this direction, I can cut it off still. But I'm gonna go ahead and come all the way over here and really try to cut that off. That's getting a little bit more detailed. That's not really important. What's important is that if you hit it at their feet, you poach. If your partner hits it at their feet, you poach. Anytime the ball's at someone's feet, you go to the middle of the court. You pinch them. You make them hit to the alley. I promise you it'll work. The second kind of poaching is poaching off your partner's serve. Depending on the level of play or how hard your partner serve, that can be harder or easier. If your partner's putting in easier serves, it's hard to poach off the serve. If they're putting in a decent first serve, then maybe we can poach a little bit. Poaching on the serve is a little bit different because the serve's always going to land in the service box. So they're able to see it. They're able to see you. They can hit the ball wherever they want. So it's not so situational. Like, you know, okay, the serve went this way, so now I'm gonna poach. You know, or because it's at their feet. It's never going to be at their feet. So what you want to do is you want to go and kind of start taking a tally of where they hit the returns. Almost everybody has one side that they like to hit down the line more on, okay? Whether it be their forehand or their backhand. So after I play a few games, I go, okay, when the serve went to their forehand 5 times, they went cross court 5 times. When it went to their backhand, they went 3 times cross court, 2 times down the line. Something like that. So in my mind, I go, okay, when it goes to their backhand, that's when they like going down the line. Normally it's reversed. Normally people like to do it on their forehand, but whatever. In this case, on the backhand, they like to mix it up, go down the line. On their forehand, they don't feel as confident, so they try to hit cross court. So now, when the serve goes to their forehand, I'm poaching. If the serve goes to their backhand, I'm either staying, or a lot of times I'll fake. I'll take that information going, oh, they like going down the line on this type of serve. Cool, I'm gonna go. To me, when my partner's serving to A, and we're playing a right-hander, they get a forehand here, it's kind of tough. People like to go down the line or across court. If it goes to their backhand, they typically pull the ball, usually somewhere in this area. So I usually like to pinch that. They tend to hit the ball kind of down the line-ish, not so much here. So I do like a slight pinch, but again, it's really got to be like this because the ball will go back behind you a lot. On the ad court, to me, it's a lot easier. Someone serves the ball, people love their inside-in forehands. So when my partner serves it to their forehand right here, I'm typically faking or staying almost every time. Serve to the backhand, almost nobody has a good backhand down the line. So I'm always poaching on that. But to each, like, I don't know, like that's what I'm saying. The real rule is to tally, right? The real rule is to like, to watch them and kind of figure out, okay, what are their tendencies, and then use that to your advantage. So that's poaching off of your partner's serve, and when you're poaching in the middle of the point, balls at their feet, you poach. Boom, we're on number 5. Okay, I caught back up. A little quicker there. Okay, number 5, wall after the lob. Well, this should only take a couple seconds, so let's go. Okay, so this one happens all the time. I should... Okay. Okay. Player D lobs player B. Player A is running over to hit the ball. Not all the time, but a good 80-90% of the time. Do you think player A is going to be able to hit a hard shot? Like rarely, right? They're usually on the run. They're either scrambling to take it out of the air, or most of the time they're actually going back further to hit the ball, right? So they're typically going to hit something weak, and probably half the time it's going to be a lob back. So at this point, you've hit a good lob, and you know they're going to hit a weak ball. So that should be, you know, a very high percentage chance you win that point, right? That's your point to win. Problem is, player C sees they're in trouble, gets all excited. Ah! I'm gonna poach now! Was the ball at their feet? No, it's not a poachable moment. You poach when the ball's at their feet. So they poach. This person's like, oh, that was sweet, I hit a good lob, and they just chill there. What do you think player A is gonna do half the time? Lob back. Woo! Oh, there goes your advantage. Now you're the one scrambling to get the ball. That was stupid. Okay, well, that was harsh. Not good though. Okay. Now, if we're actually a good doubles player, we're here, right? When my partner D is hitting the ball, we're back here, right? So now my partner D has hit the lob. I stay right here. If my partner is a good partner, they'll actually come up too. And now we are here Maybe I slide over if my partner comes up. And we have now created the wall. So here are the scenarios. Player A goes over, lobs. We are in perfect position to handle every overhead. Okay. Player A goes over, hits a ground stroke, but it's weak. If we're light on our feet, then we just step in and hit a nice volley. Okay. The only time it would not be ideal is if player A goes over there and rips a hard ground stroke. But again, what are the percentage chances of that happening? Not good. Okay. And if they do, then fine. Then we just get the volley back. We don't get to actually be on offense anymore. It was a good shot by them. But more often than not, that's going to be it. Okay? So now they lob. Player A hits a weak ball. Me and my partner up here creating the wall. We go and hit that overhead or the nice volley at their partner who's still at the net. And boom, we win the point. Okay? It's like easy. That whole cover in the middle thing, easy. Again, if we watch that over there, you're going to see it. Lob goes over. Players do this. I'm like, wall. So just remember wall. Wall is easy. And I feel like actually a lot of my clients have been doing that great. Now, what if you have a partner that is ridiculous enough to not take one of my seminars? Well, they might not know to come up to the net. So would you tell them, hey, you should come up to the net? No, you wouldn't do that because telling them is the wrong thing to do. So what you do is you just kind of still camp out over here because the chance of them hitting like a super angled cross court is not good. And I don't even need my partner at that point. I can stand here, whatever lob or easy volley I can cover the entire court unless they actually rip it back, right? So I can do it by myself. But if you are player D and you remember, come up here and create the wall, that makes it a little bit easier and better. Okay. Flying through that one. All right. Stagger at the net. Okay, so this one's gonna be, I'm gonna be kind of combining a couple things here, but let's go over to diagram 2 here for a second. Okay. So this scenario, my partner A has hit a ground stroke to D, or maybe served it, or whatever. D is now hitting the ground stroke. I am player B still. Got it? And again, I have drawn it this way. I know you guys are like, Chris, you should be an artist. No, I know I'm good, but no. Tennis is my thing. So, D is hitting the ball. I am B. Here are my options. Option 1, stay at the service line. Option 2, stand close to the alley. I know you guys love that one. Option 3, stand right there in the middle of the box. Okay, so I don't know if you guys can see that. I hope. I'll try to draw it a little bit longer. If you come up and you stand at B, so again, player D, these are the options, right? They can hit the ball here or here, and your partner's got over here covered. Okay. If I'm player B, the closer I get here, see this part here, I am cutting off almost all the way to the net strap. So they got to get basically, I can come, if I'm doing it correctly, I can almost get to the net strap. Okay, just standing in the right spot. So I'm forcing him to hit the ball over to the other side of the net strap, which is actually difficult. And I'm only giving up this little sliver right there. So if we're talking math, that's not even a hard decision. Like, I'm gonna make them hit that ball there. If I come over to this spot there, you guys all like to hang out at, sorry, maybe some don't, but in the green here, you've now, look at that, look at all that space that's right there. This whole, it's like you're covering like half of the box, and you're covering out. Like, don't cover out. That's a bad move. Okay, and if we're here at this spot, now most of the time you guys don't do that, but when that happens a lot of times when maybe D served it to your partner returned it, and then you chilled here. You didn't get up. You didn't do the slide, right? You didn't come up. So you stay here. Okay? The problem with that is, as you can see, you're not cutting off much of the court at all. You're not cutting off the middle or the alley. You're not cutting anything off. You're covering nothing. And if they do hit you the ball there, you're not really going to be able to do much with the volley. there are circumstances. Let's say my partner has a weak second serve and I really don't feel like playing at the baseline. I might play a little bit further back so I can handle the pace of the return and then be able to be in the point. But in general, not a place we want to be. Okay? So we want to be here. Now why, if that's the case, why wouldn't I just stand all the way on top of the net? Lob, right? Or maybe I can't handle their pace, you know? Sometimes we get so close we can't like react fast enough. But in theory, if they weren't gonna lob and I can handle the pace, I would get as close as I could. Now this leads me to stagger at the net. Okay, so since this player should be this close, and yes, if you're playing people that lob more or lob less, you should adjust a little bit more or hit hard or hit soft. But in general, if this is where we're supposed to play, then we are susceptible to the lob going over player B's head. So that brings in, what if player A hits an approach shot? Let's try a different color. Player A hits an approach shot and comes in. If player A comes all the way up to here, there's no way either of them can cover the lob. So we know that being both on top of the net, unless you're playing it's gonna happen. Maybe you're playing someone and they're just like, these people don't lob, then cool, then go forward. But let's assume that they have a lob in their arsenal. One person has to play a little bit further back. If we choose this player to be up when D's hitting the ball, they've hit the approach shot over here, and this player to be back, if D lobs this way, can B run it down? They cannot, because the ball is traveling away from them. So that lob going this way will be going this way. This person will not be able to run it down. In addition, we know that by player B being back here on the service line, and this person being here, is leaving a lot of open court based on that angle. So this shot is a lot harder to cover because of the way they are. So we want to reverse it. Let's go with blue being good again. So when player A comes in, they should stay there. Now, they could even be a little bit more over here if they want, because the ball traveling along this line can be covered by both. If they lob, it's coming this direction so this person can cover. Okay? I put on my notes 3/4 of the court. If you're the person hitting the approach shot and you're coming in and the ball's cross court, you have to cover the front, you're behind, and your partner's behind. They should just be focused on this thing, just trying to like cut off as many balls as they can. You're the one who needs to cover whatever. Now, if you get an easy ball and you want to hit the hard volley at this person, then the dynamic changes, okay? But when you're first coming in, you got to make sure you don't get too close, unless they just don't lob. I also don't think you should stand here behind the service line, because then you're not going to be effective at the net. So depending on your athletic ability, your partners, how well they hit the ball, it's typically maybe like 1 or 2 steps inside the service line.
First question.
Yes.
Why is it easier for blue A to cover the lob than it is for red B to cover the other lob?
Good question. Let's do it a big fat red here.
Okay.
So this ball is traveling away from B.
Okay, got it.
So that's a lot of ground to cover. And it keeps going away from them. So even if they can get it, which they probably can't, they're not going to be able to do much with it. Where this ball is either going straight or even coming towards them.
Okay, got it.
So then you're able to cover that. Good question. I like questions. You guys can ask questions. Okay. Let's go to 7. Win the line battle. So I've talked about this a little bit when it comes to the volleying, but we'll talk a little more. So I know you're playing doubles, but there is a singles match going on within the doubles match. Okay? And that singles match is basically you and the person across from you. All right? So if I'm the net person, my goal is to get the ball and also disturb their returns and ground strokes as much as possible. So I'm going to poach, fake, stay, move, do whatever I can to get the ball, but also get them to look up at me. I want to be a presence. A story I like to tell is the last time I played a mixed doubles season. I'm a 5-0, my partner was a 4-0, and so my serve is significantly better than my partner's. But after 9 matches, neither of us got broken that much, but I got broken more often than she did. And that's because if my serve is good, okay, great. But if my serve is a little off, they feel very comfortable hitting the returns wherever. But even though her serve is kind of whatever, I'm doing all kinds of stuff at the net, so they're just missing all kinds of returns because they're looking up at me. Did I get beat? Of course I got beat all the time. But did I make more of an impact? I'm gonna say that later. No, this is the time to talk about that. Okay, so to me, you have 3 factors. And let's go back to standing here at B and or poaching. So how do we value when we should be, how much we should be poaching and how far we should stand over in the middle of the court? What's the equation there? Okay, so there's 3 variables. All right, first one is, on the negative side, how many times are they gonna be able to beat me down my line? Okay. On the positive side, how many balls will I be able to cut off in the middle? And on the other positive side, how many times are they going to miss because they're worried about me moving? That one's a little bit harder to tangibly count, but you can kind of tell when you're playing. All right. So if I were to be over at B, my number would be 0 on the down the line, but my number would be 0 on cutting off the middles and affecting them. So it's a net 0, which a lot of times you guys are okay with. You know why? Because if you keep beat down your line, it's your fault. If the ball goes down the middle and you guys lose the point, you go, we both could have done better, right? Yeah, I know. Did you get that one? Yeah, it's like, oh, cover your line. Oh, you got beat down your line. Like it's so lame. If I play here, okay, let's say I get beat down my line 3 times a set. I cut off 5 balls in the middle. It's conservative. And they miss 3 balls because they looked up at me. So 8 to 3. So I'm at a net plus 5. That's just easy math for me. Like, I don't care. You got the 3. I got 8. I'll take it. Now, if we add timely poaching to it, we can increase our number even a little bit more. So maybe I poached a little bit at the right times. So maybe instead of 3, I get beat 4 times down the line. But now I'm getting 7 balls in the middle, and because I'm really moving a lot, they miss 5 because, now I'm at 12 to 4. So I'm at a net plus 8. Now, obviously, if you could just keep going more to the middle and just increase that number, then you would just go. But obviously, at some point, then you lose it. Now you're getting beat down the line 10 times, and you're not really affecting the match. So there is a point, right? But that's the math you should be doing in your head. A loose math, right? A loose math, kind of a simple way is basically, if you're not moving a lot, you're doing it wrong. If you don't get beat down your line, you're doing it wrong. Like, if you get beat down your line 5 times in a set, you're doing it too much. So you should be looking for that, like, 2 to 3, maybe even 4 times in a set that you get beat. Seems like a lot, but the other side is much better. So, when I'm at the net, I'm beating that person. Now I'm gonna flip it. When I'm the returner / ground stroker, my goal is to get them to not move anywhere and to be stuck. How do I do that? By mixing up my shots. Okay? There's basically, from player D's perspective, there's 4 shots you can hit. 4 returns, 4 shots. You can hit your general cross court one. You can hit a down the line one. You could do a short chip or an angle, and you can do a lob. Depending on how good you feel, what your best shots are. But you definitely should be doing a mix of all four, and the percentages should be kind of close. If you hit a good, let's pretend you hit a good return, like nice clean return. If you hit a cross court, that's a 50-50 ball. Maybe you have a 60 or 70% chance of winning higher. If you hit a good down the line shot, not past them, either at them or it's to the side of them towards the alley, and it's like a decently hit ball, you're actually probably gonna win that point 75% of the time. If you hit a good short little chip, 75%. You hit a good lob, we already discussed that, 75%. So it is riskier, but if you can hit just a decent shot, not like an amazing shot, not talking about a pass, you will win a higher percentage. In addition, guess what? You hit one lob or you hit one down the line. Guess what this person's doing? Retreating back over to that spot. And now you've got the whole middle open, right? Or you hit one chip, maybe two. What's this person start doing? They start creeping in. Now you hit your regular ground stroke and it's at their feet. Or you hit the lob and they're completely out of position. If you don't mix it up, they're just gonna like figure out what you do and they're just gonna stand there. So you have to mix it up. I love lobbing off the return. I lob off the return every game. Why not? I get this person running and me and my partner go do the wall. We win the point. It's not, I don't know. I just do it all the time. But, so that's what number 7 means. Win the down the line battle. When you're the net person, get in the returner's head. And when you're the returner, get that net person to be frozen. They could be the best player in the world. If they're not even covering the middle because you've got them all sucked into the corner there, you've won. Now the game is much easier. Number 8. In general, how you hit the ball is way more important than where you hit the ball. More so on the ground strokes, the volleys where you hit it is more important. But still, how you hit it is more important than where you hit it. And when I say where, I mean directionally. Okay? I am not saying height. And that's where I'm going to go with this. Height is everything. The game of doubles is all about height. If I get the ball low to them, they have to hit the ball up higher, which then will yield easier shots for me. So my goal every time I'm hitting a ball is seeing if I can hit the ball below their waist or over their head. I do not want to hit the ball in this area. That is my goal at all times. If I'm at the ground strokes, I'm just trying to rip a nice hard ground stroke. I don't care if it goes to the net person, I don't care if it goes cross court, I don't care where it goes. If I'm hitting a return, put my head down, hit a nice hard shot. Worst case scenario, they volley it back. Like, big deal. Okay? But if I get it below their feet, or below their waist, then I'm going to get them to pop it up. Or I hit good lobs. If I'm in a situation where I don't feel like I'm comfortable that I can hit a good shot, then I'll lob it. Right? Or if I get a short low one, I'm going to come in and hit a little chip to the side, get it low to him, or I'm going to lob. I'm not going to just come in and roll a ball right up here for the high volley. There's not really too much more to go. Oh, actually that's not true. There's 2 things. So one, that's also part of being a good partner. Let's say my partner is struggling with the return. I'll maybe go back to the baseline and be like, just hit the ball. If you're both at the baseline and your partner hits a decent ground stroke, the volleyer is not going to be able to put it away. Most of the time. It's just not going to happen. Okay? So it's just more important that they hit the ball well. When you're playing, don't worry about hitting a cross court or trying to put it perfect. Hit a good ball. Once you get in a rhythm, then you can worry about hitting to the different spots. The last little part about where you're hitting that ball, how you hit it. We talked about player A coming up here. Okay, that was when we were talking about being player A. Now we're going to talk about being player D. Okay. When player A hits an approach shot and comes in, and you're here, there are players that will do a variety, but for the most part, there's the people that run up here, and there's the people that chill at the service line. Typically. If they chill at the service line, you hit your normal ground stroke, hopefully with a little bit of topspin on it or a little dip to it. You get at their feet, they pop it up, then you take advantage of the point. If they come up to here, then you lob them. They can't cover both. Most people don't know how to do both. So even if you do expose them, they'll just keep doing the same thing. It'll just keep being open. Maybe at some point you'll have them change, but then you're in their head. Now, here's the tricky part. How do you know which one to do? Because when you're hitting the ball, you need to focus on the ball. So how do you know where they're standing? Because you can't look up at them. Here's the trick. So you play the point, they come and they do an approach shot. You put your head down, you just focus on hitting a good ground stroke. You hit a good ground stroke. It ends up below their waist. Great, that must have meant they stayed back. But what if you hit a good ground stroke and they're on top of the net and they hit a good volley? That should be an alarm like, how did they get that ball? How did they have a volley up here that close to the net? Oh, they didn't stop. They didn't split step. They came in really close. So now I go, okay, cool, I know who you are. So the next time they hit an approach shot, I don't look at them, I just put my head down and I hit a lob. They're probably on top of the net, and then I win the point. And I'll do that over and over and over and over and over again, you know? So try to determine, are they the type of personality that charges in, or are they someone who chills back here? And then I will tell you which shot you should do. All right, we are cruising. Oh, we're almost out of time, dang it. Okay. Number 9, no winners. Don't hit winners, ever. Don't do it. Sometimes you hit a ball that they cannot get, or they can't get it back, but you didn't know that when you were hitting it, nor were you trying to accomplish that. You're always trying to hit a ball to a certain area, the way you want to hit it, and then you're trying to position yourself afterwards. And then you just do that over and over and over again, and then eventually they miss, or maybe you accidentally hit it past them, right? But you don't ever try to hit a winner. In addition, typically in singles, when people are hitting ground strokes, they have a certain patience with it. They expect points to go a little bit longer. But when volleys are involved, whether you're the volleyer or you're the person hitting it to the volleyer, there's this panic that the point's going to end very soon and you need to be the one to end it. It is not true. There is nothing wrong with rallying with volleys. If someone hits a decently hard ground stroke to me, I'm going to just volley it back. I don't need to win the point. I don't need to do anything. I'll hit it back to them. If they hit it back to me, I'll hit it back to them again. And again. And I'll just do it until they give me one that's up, and then I do something. Then I hit it in that person's feet and I follow it, right? If I'm the ground stroker, if I hit a good dipping ground stroke, they hit a volley from down here and they volley it back to me, then I do it again. Like, what's the difference between the first ball to the third ball to the sixth ball, right? What does it matter? It's people's inability to rally. It's the inability they need the point to end. There's a big like impatience with it. One other part of the I would totally get that, but I'm on video. Yikes.
There's something on your chart.
This is a real like I'm like I gotta get it. I'm sorry. Okay. Wow.
He's a good person.
Wow. Yeah. Destroys the video. Okay. So one of the times that the no winner rule really comes into play is when we have an easier ball. We have a high volley or an easy high ground stroke. So a couple things I want you to think about there is one, percentage tennis. All right. So if I hit my hard volley to the right area, there's a good chance they won't get it back, and if they do, it'll be a weak ball, so it gives me a high percentage of winning the points. If I try to hit a winner, so I try to hit it harder or closer to the line, my errors go way up. And my shots usually don't even end up being that much harder, so I don't actually get any benefit. And then if I'm too scared of making errors and I hit it softer, then I don't get the advantage of them missing or me hitting an accidental winner or me getting the advantage anymore. So when you have easy balls, the key is to hit a nice, clean, hard shot to the area that you want to hit it, and expect them to get it back. One of the main ones is when we have a high volley. When I have a high volley, the play is you hit it at the net person's feet, and then you poach, right? Remember that. Balls at the feet, we poach. Hit at the net person's feet, you poach. Okay? You do not hit it back to the baseline side. If you have low volleys, you hit it back to the baseline side. You have high volleys, you hit another person's feet, you poach. Okay? Couple things. One, that will yield the best results. But two, if I have that plan, now when I'm going to hit it, I don't think I have to hit a winner, so I don't overdo it. So I make a high percentage. I'm more calm because my plan is I hit at the feet and I go. In addition, let's say, Ron, I hit it to your feet and I come up like this, and now you have the ball at your feet. You probably won't be looking at me because you'll be looking down at the ball. Okay? But you'll hit it, and next thing you'll look and go, oh my gosh, Chris was right in my. So guess what happens the next time I have that high volley and I put it at Ron's feet? He's gonna be like, oh no, Chris is gonna do that again, and so he's gonna miss even more, right? That is way more effective than trying to hit a harder ball that doesn't come back. That's why I say no winners. Okay, let's bring it home. Back to the mind games. Play your game. Okay. So one of the main issues. All right, one of the main issues that players have playing doubles is that they don't want to disappoint their partner. And or they want their opponents to think a certain way about them. But mostly the disappointing the partner thing. If I'm worried about disappointing my partner, or my opponents think of me in a certain way, or my team winning for my team, or whatever it is, right? And I'm being insecure, and I'm being fearful, and I'm really worried about my actions, okay? This water bottle here represents my emotions, okay? And all this stuff I talked about today. So stand in this spot, stand in this position, poach here, do whatever. Why? Some of the stuff is new to you, but some of the stuff you already knew. Why don't you do it? When you know it's the right play. When the percentages say, stand here, why are you standing here? Right? Because basically, the insecurity, fear, all that stuff is just like this. So the answers may be there, but you're just literally blind. You just don't even play. I teach that feet and follow. You get a high volley, hit it at the feet and follow it in, like all the time. I can say it to someone for 3 years and they still don't do it. Why? Because they get that ball and they're just like, okay, Chris, or don't miss it, or hit a winner, or whatever. Don't suck, right? Instead of like, do the play, do what you're supposed to do. Or why don't people do different formations? Or why don't people do any of the stuff I talked about? Because they're just playing. They're just hitting the ball and like seeing what's gonna happen. They're not actually playing the game of tennis. Like, it's literally so sad to me. I can't bear it sometimes. And do you think that I don't also have this insecurity and fear? Of course I do. I'm a human being, okay? But I can see it. So when I see it, I can put it over here. And I can be like, yeah, I'm freaking out. Yeah, I don't want to suck. Yeah, I don't want to let down my team and my partners. But like, I can see like, but I think the best chance for me to play well is to do this, this, and this. So I'm going to do it. And that's going to give me the best chance. And if I fail, I fail, right? I want to get everyone to that point where they just see it, personify it, give it a name. Hey, water bottle, whatever, I see you, but like, I'm going to do this. The last little part about disappointing your partner. So people tend to kind of be the way they are, okay? So they have a certain kind of baseline, right? Of whatever you want to call it, healthiness or whatever, just the way that they are, okay? And circumstances make us slightly happier or slightly worse, right? Just little ticks, right? But we're just kind of where we are. And maybe you can do things to like raise your level or lower your level. But in general, like all the little winning a point, winning a match, losing a match, you hitting a good shot, you a bad shot, whatever. It just was little ticks, okay? You're not really responsible, nor can you like make your partner like pumped. Like maybe for a moment, maybe not. And they probably think about you the way, like if you have a good partner, right, and you miss a shot, a good partner's like, no worries, go for it again. They want the best for you. They want you to keep playing, right? A bad partner, you can make 20 in a row, and you miss that 21st one, and they're like, oh my gosh. Like, you're not gonna make, people are either gonna be like pumped to play with you or they're not. Like, it just doesn't matter that much. But if you're worried about your partner, what are you worried about? You're worried about their opinion of you. You're worried about your ego. You're being fearful and insecure. Do you, back to the very beginning point, do you play good tennis when you are insecure and fearful?
No.
You have to be confident. So I started off by saying do that for your partner, but like do it for yourself. Like play your game. Play the way you think is the best way to play. And if you miss all the shots and you lose, you tell your partner, I'm sorry. And maybe they never want to play with you again. I don't know, but I'm not here to tell you it's going to work out. I'm going to tell you that you can at least stand by your result. I will finish with there's a lot of emotions involved. But if you play the way you want to play and you lose, it'll get a 4 out of 10. Like, that kind of sucked, but like, okay. If you win, you'll be like, it's a 10 out of 10. Like, this is great. I did what I could. I was running, I was poaching, I was doing all this stuff, and we won. It was awesome. If you are sitting there worried about everybody else on the court, and you know, us guys, we have it easier. We just want to be respected. Women want to be loved, so they want to beat their opponent and for them to like them. That's like freaking difficult. Thank goodness I don't give a crap if my opponents like me or not. I want them to respect me, so that's hard enough. But like, you know, so that's a whole nother level. So sorry guys, you know, good luck with that. But I'll sidetrack myself. But if I play a style where I'm playing inferior tennis because I'm more worried about looking good for people, then if I win, I get a 6. It's more of a relief. And if I lose, I get a 0. I just like don't even know why I'm playing tennis. It's like, it's crippling. So I'm not saying the 6 doesn't feel slightly better than the 4, but I'm just saying, like, what do you want to play on? Like, what do you want to do? I don't know. Like, for me, I made the decision, I don't know, 13 years ago. Like, if I'm going to step on a court, I'm going to play. And if my partner or my opponent or my team or people watching me are disappointed with the way I'm playing, like, that's cool. Like, thank you for the support. Like, whatever. Like, I don't care. I play for me, and I can hit my ball and be happy with it. So there's a lot of emotions, but it is a decision. And I want you guys to make that decision because I want you to do all the other crap that I told you about. And I can tell you all this crap because I tell people all this crap all the time, but they don't do it because they're just worried about not sucking. What a waste of tennis life. Please don't do it. Okay, I'm done.